Hello, 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 everyone. Hey, friends. Hey, family. Hey, loved ones. I love you guys. And so I'm not going to be long. I'm actually tired, but I decided to go ahead and do this video and get it out the way. Hopefully, I can post it tonight after I do it. And hopefully, I won't need to make any, edit anything or anything like that. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in to Code Black. I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And let's just jump right into it because I don't want to be long. So, as you guys know, by the title, we pretty much kind of know what I'm going to be somewhat talking about. And I want to talk about two things tonight. One is the Kansas City student. I believe his name is Albert Wilson. I want to talk about his situation, his case, and then I want to also talk about Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union Wade, and the Wades. So let's talk about Albert Wilson. Let's talk about him. So for those of you who do not know, Albert Wilson is the 23-year-old man who was sentenced to 12 years in prison for basically kissing a white girl, basically. So according to reports, they met back in 2016 when he was 20 and the girl, I believe she was 17. They were both underage. And in that particular state, I believe 17 is the legal age for, adult. So, 18 can be the legal age to be considered adult in some states. Other states, it can be 18, 19, whatever, 17. And so both of them were underage. Both of them met at a bar. He was a college student, and they met at a bar. They both got in. It was a bar, a bar that I guess you had to be a certain age to drink. I don't know. But they met at a bar. They were both drinking alcohol. They danced together. He kissed her, I believe, while they were dancing or something like that. And he asked her if she wanted to go back to his apartment. And so she said yes. And they went back to his apartment. And when they went back to his apartment, all they did was kiss. They did not have sexual intercourse, according to the guy that was sentenced to 12 years. According to the white girl, she says that she was raped. Now, they did do a rape kit on her. The rape kit came back negative for showing any signs of that someone had been raped, or that it didn't have any vaginal DNA of his in her vagina. So basically, all the things that they test for when they do a rape kit, it came back negative. So basically, it was her word against his word. And there was a judge. She was a woman, a white woman, and she what did I just do? Okay, I thought I had did something. So there was a judge, it was a white woman. And so basically she just was like, oh, I'm still going to consider that rape. And she sentenced him to 12 years in prison with a lifetime of probation. So that's pretty much what happened. That's the story. Now, I want to point out two things, or more than two things, but at this juncture, I want to point out two things. One is that, the fact that this young man had no record whatsoever up until this point, never been in trouble. He was in college, so it seemed like he was a young man that was trying to do something with himself, trying to go places in life. And he's hit with this. That's one. And then number two is it's his word against her word. So of course she's the white woman, and they're gonna take, in the court system, this has been proven, they're gonna take 9 times out of 10, or really 10 times out of 10, but 9 times out of 10, they're going to take her word for what happened. And it's really heartbreaking because he's a young man and he probably at that particular time was led by his penis. He probably wasn't thinking clearly. I don't know what the deal may have been. But my thing is, you guys, I mean, this is 2019. And with all the racial tension, with all the racial everything, I mean, you can't be out here messing with white women. I just got to tell you guys how it is. I'm sorry. Because in the system of white supremacy, and we all live in a system of white supremacy, when it comes to the court system in particular, if a white woman says she was raped, guess what? She was raped. It doesn't matter if the woman is going up against white men, Hispanic men, whoever. If the white woman goes before a court of law and says she was raped, they are going to believe her 9 times out of 10. And she's going to get sympathy because it's always been like that. It's always been like that. And, as parents, and I'm not a parent, but I'm speaking to the parents. If you send your children out into the world just unknowing to what is out there, the dangers that is out there, you are just as liable. Now, yes, he was an adult male, but I mean, come on. Clearly, nobody has had this talk with this young man. And if somebody did have a talk with this young man, I mean, what did you guys talk about? What could they have talked about? It's very, very, I mean, this is life and death, guys. Just imagine, this could have also went a totally different way. This could have went the minute she reported that she had been raped by a black man. They could have been knocking on his door, kicking his door in and shooting him in the head. And then he never gets to tell his side of the story. That could have also happened. I know we want to, live in a world where things like this does not exist, but this is an age-old story. This is an age-old story. Black man, white woman says that she was raped. There's no evidence that says she was to corroborate her story, but the black man still has to pay for it. I mean, this is the ongoing story. This is it. That has always been that has always been the storyline. So it's like, when are we gonna make a stand and say, okay, no more? And it's a personal choice. If you want to date and sex and do whatever you want to do outside of your race, they go for men and women. You go right on ahead. But when something happens, and God forbid that it does, because we don't want to wish any ill will on none of our brothers and sisters who, we don't, I don't do that. But if you step outside and you engage in certain acts and certain activities, and then something like that happens, you can't come crying. You can't come crying back. No. Yes, that was wrong how this young man was did. Yes, he shouldn't have been done like that. Yes, it angers me that that happened to him. But it's too dangerous. And it's been case after case after case after case. This is an age-old storyline, guys. We live in a system of white supremacy, and I know some men would like to think that, oh, well, I can be with whatever woman I want to, and I'm running things. I still have the power. But let me tell you something. When you lay down with a white woman and you get in the bed with her and y'all roll around in the bed, and then when you get up out of that bed, or when you even in the bed, all power has been lost. You have no power. Not over her. Not over her, because guess what? It all boils down to what the court deems happened. And if the court deems that she's telling the truth and you're not, guess what? You have no power. No power whatsoever. We gotta, I mean, parents, you have to have you have to have this talk with your children. You have to. This does not mean you go to them and say, don't date so and so. No. This means that you present to them cases just like this, where this young man was accused, and to be quite honest, the evidence does not support what the woman claimed happened. That's just fact. It does not support that. But you have to present to them these types of cases. Talk to them about this so that they can make their own informed decision. Me personally, my dad straight up told me, look, no white men, none in my house. Don't bring no white men home. My dad straight up told me that, but my dad was from the old school. You know, my daddy had me when he was in his late 30s. So he was from the old school. You know, by the time I was in college, and, you know, he was from the old school. He didn't want no white men coming up in his house. Straight up. And that's, I mean, you know, and that's just what it was. And it's like parents are so, you guys, some parents get so fragile about that. Have that conversation. Have it with your daughters as well. That's a whole nother conversation about, you know, there's been many Black women that have been slapped around, killed, Black children that have been done all kinds of crazy ways at the hands of their significant other, whom they really didn't know and really didn't get to find out about. But for whatever reason, I mean, that's a whole nother story. But, you know, this is the thing, you guys, we really have to understand that we are not in a just system. None of us, particularly Black men. And because of that, things like this can happen. This man had no record. You know, he was clearly had a record of trying to do the right thing, trying to, you know, advance himself. Now he's going to get out of prison 12 years when he's in his 30s. He's going to get out of prison. And, you know, he's going to have to start all over. And can he start all over? I mean, what is this man going to be able to do with rape on his record? This man has been stained. It's unfortunate, but this man has been stained. His life is done. It's very, very hard for sex offenders, particularly Black sex. See, let me tell you something. With white men who get accused or who go to jail for raping people, they can get out and go work at their dad's company, their cousins, their uncle's company, somebody's company. Somebody can get him a job. I just posted not too long ago a man who was in Chicago back in the 80s, I believe, or the 70s. It was the 70s, I think. Back in the late 70s, they called him, his name was something Darcy, and he was killing all these kids. And before he went on his killing spree of teenage kids and young men, the man had went to prison, actually did some time for sexually assaulting, sexually molesting a family member's child. Guess what? The man got out because he got out early because of he had some good time served or whatever they call it. Got out. His dad owned a bunch of KFCs, so his dad allowed him to manage 2 or 3 KFCs. So this man got out and was still able to make a lot of money because of his KFC. Because his daddy allowed him to manage the KFCs. He literally gave him 3 KFCs to manage. And this is the thing. When you have a system set up where you can get out after having a record, rape on your record, and then you can go and co-own some KFCs to make a living for you and your family. The man got married, had children of his own. I mean, that is just the plan. We no, that's not true for Black people, period, or for Black men. You get a rape charge, you are out of there. You are out of there. Unless you start, and even if you start your own business, you still got to go register as a sex offender. You still got to go anytime you got to be around children, depending on what state you are in. You still got to go and ask the court system to allow you to be around certain areas. You can't even live in certain areas where there are children. This man's life has been augmented forever. Or at least as long as he has that charge and that case against him. Now, if he's able to overturn that somehow. And another thing that I read too, this man had a court-appointed lawyer. This is another thing that I have a problem with. When there are court-appointed lawyers, we got to understand that a lot of times, not all times, I'm not saying all times, I am not saying all times, but a lot of times when there are court-appointed lawyers, they are not necessarily tirelessly working to help you to the best of your interests. You know, they a lot of times, especially if they are in a whole different, if they are a different race, they don't, I mean, come on now. They are not, I mean, you know, they are being, let me tell you something, court appointed lawyers, they're not making a bunch of money like that to care about somebody who may be innocent for rape. So, I mean, we got to understand that as well. So that tells me that this man had a serious charge such as rape. And he couldn't, or his family couldn't even afford him a lawyer. This man didn't, I personally don't think he did it. And I'm going to tell you something. Look, if, God forbid, but if I'm not going to even say it, but God forbid any one of my family members have to go through that and they didn't do it, oh, we not finna get no court appointed. We finna go get a really good lawyer to take on that case. We're going to have to just come up. We're going to have to pull together as a family and come up with some money. Because let me tell you something. No, anybody will tell you. Anybody will tell you. Court appointed lawyers, let me tell you something. No, a lot of times they work with the court system. Because a lot of times they don't want to put all that work in there like that. So they'll just cut a deal. They'll come to you and say, hey, this is what they want. And they ain't even, you know, at least attempted or tried to help in any kind of way, you know, get the charges dropped or, you know, get the charges done away with. They just kind of go with the whatever, because they're going to get paid either way. Remember, they're court appointed. So they're going to get paid either way. So we got to understand that as well. But in the system of white supremacy, when you have a white woman who can say, I was raped, whether she was raped or not, 9 times out of 10, they are going to believe her. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. And why would anybody want to put themselves in that type of position? Again, I give the young people a pass because I understand that, you know, maybe they haven't had a lot of experiences. Maybe their families haven't shared certain things. But I mean, again, we are living in the internet age these days where anything you need to know can be found on the internet. Not long ago, we had Nate, what's his name? Was it Nate Turner? And he, you know, made the Nat Turner movie, and an old case that he beat came up all over again, and he had people that was trying to work against him to keep him from being able to you know, go forth with the movie. And this man in the court of law was able to prove that he did not rape anybody. It was an old girlfriend of his that he was with, and she claimed something. She claimed that he had did something to her, and they proved that in the court of law they found him not guilty. And this man had to pay for a white woman saying that she was raped or sexually assaulted or whatever it was, years after the case had already been closed and done with, and this man is still paying for it. This is what happens. But then, you know, again, I give him all credit for the movie and everything. Wonderful, you know, movie, good movie. But at the end of the day, you go through something like that, then you go back door and you still get with a white woman and you marry her. I mean, I can't be in your corner if something else like that happen again. And that go for anybody, men, women, it don't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Okay. So I just wanted to, go over that because there's a lot of talk about that. Um, and again, there's there's so many different levels to the danger in black men dating outside of their race, period, but more specifically white women. There's so many dangers that go with that. So many. And particularly right now in this day and time with racial tensions being like it is, every other week there's, officers shooting and killing black folks, little girls. We just had not too long ago a little boy knocked on the door, wrong door, 16 years old, black boy. Just moved into the city, just moved into the neighborhood, hadn't been there long, wasn't, real familiar with the neighborhood, knocked on the wrong door and was shot dead. And you still have people out here who children just don't even know, you know. And again, this is not to say that, you gotta, teach your children to just be all uptight everywhere they go and suspicious. No, but they need to, like our brother Neely Fuller say, suspect everyone. Everybody should be suspected. Everybody. You suspect until you don't have no reason to suspect. Use caution. Use uh things that you see with your own eyes, as in what we see happen to our brothers and sisters that are out here. And what it really boils down to is putting your life on the line like that. When you date, marry, sex, kiss a woman a white woman under the system of white supremacy, you are playing with your life. Literally, you are playing with your life. And I believe that that particular judge, she sent a clear, very, very clear message to all black males, which says, leave the white women alone. That was the message she sent. Leave them alone. Whether you telling the truth or not, your ass is gonna be behind bars. And your life is gonna be all messed up and turned all upside down. And ain't nobody gonna be able to come and help you and save you because they gonna give you a court-appointed lawyer. Now, if people want to play with fire like that, then go right ahead. Be my guest. Look, it don't matter to me. I want people to be safe. I want people to be informed. I want people to make the best decisions possible. So this video is not about who you should be in bed with, lay up with, marry, kiss, whoever. You do whatever you want to do, but let's be clear. Let's be very clear of this particular case. That could have easily been anybody else. I know a bunch of people that have a bunch of men, women, more so men though, who have experimented outside of their race. And you guys that have experimented and actually you live to tell the story, you're lucky. Because it's not always like that. Now let's get on this other bit. Dwayne Wade. You guys know that there was some pictures that had pretty much hit the internet Dwayne Wade, uh, he, I don't know, I think it was on his Instagram stories where he put up a picture of his son who was 11 and his wife, and they were at the Pride uh, festivities that they had in Miami. And so he, he put up a few pictures, and he was like, they're supporting. It's a family affair that the family's supporting and things like that. I don't think he was actually there, but I think he was just kind of like supporting through social media and stuff like that. And but Gabrielle was there. Gabrielle took it, I believe it was him, and then one of his older brothers, I believe. And he was all dressed up in rainbow, and he had this little rainbow cone thing on his head. Actually, he's a handsome little boy. All of Dwayne Wade's little boys are very handsome. And I'm not, I don't get in the habit of talking about people's children, because children are children, you know, and I have a soft spot for children, particularly Black children. I have a soft spot because I know for a fact that our children are disproportionately harmed in every area of life, every area, politics, education, um, economics, religion, um, labor, everything, every area. And so, I understand that. So I don't get in the habit of talking about people's children. So I'm not gonna talk about his child. He seems to be a beautiful little boy, very handsome little boy. Um, and I don't know if the little boy identifies as what the little boy identifies as. I don't know. And to be quite honest, it's really not important, because at this particular point, um, he identifies as something, and I don't think it's a straight male. I think it's something else. I don't know. It's so many different things within the LGBTQ. I don't know if he's gay or if bisexual. I don't know. Um, but I'm going to turn my attention to the parents, because again, I don't talk about children, especially children as young as that. 11 is very young, very young. And I seen where people were like, well, how do you know, how do you know at that age? At the age of 6, you guys can look this up. Children, by the age of 6, know what the opposite sex that they like. So by the age of 6, little girls know that they like little boys. By the age of 6, little boys know that they like little girls. I believe by the age of 4 or 5, little boys know that they have a penis, and little girls know that they have a vagina. They know that little boys have a little thing that hang off, and the little girls know that they don't have that thing that hang off. So kids learn about these things very young. They're not 10 years old before they understand penis and vagina. But I think that's the very basic of just our anatomy as male, female. So at 11 years old, you understand that. You understand you have a penis at 11. And you understand that girls don't have penises. You understand that girls have boobs. Now, you don't really, you understand that by 11, because you see women, your mother, they have boobs and guys don't. So you already understand that by 11. I'm just going over some of the things that kids understand by 11. Now, sexual orientation. This is the big one. Sexual orientation, meaning, mind you, the word sex is in that word, in that title. Sexual orientation. Sexual. So sex could mean gender. Sex could mean like actual the act of sex, having sex, where you want to put your penis or where you want to put your vagina. It could mean that. Um, and then sex could mean really those are the two basic things, right? Those are the two. My brother just now texting me back. Who this boy? I texted him way earlier today. Happy birthday. He just now texting me back. But sex could mean let me text him back because it's getting late and I don't want to be texting him at nighttime. He's a married man, so I don't want to text him too late at night. Sorry, you guys. I have to text my brother back because it's late already. And my brother is like, this brother, he's a twin. And he's just like, just so nonchalant. He's you got to really catch him when he's available because he's like so busy and nonchalant. But anyways, so those are really the basic two ways, that sex is used. And so when we're talking about sexual orientation, he said he forgot his birthday. So when we're talking about sexual orientation, at 11 years old, so sorry guys. I forgot what's up. Oh, sexual orientation. So, like how does he, know uh what he likes, like what sex, what gender he likes, or what gender he wants to be. These are the things that I think about. Like, you know, this is my thing. At 11 years old, you don't know that you can switch genders. That's something that is learned. Like at 11 years old, okay, I have a penis. I was born this way. And you have that penis for a very long time because you can't get any surgeries before a certain age. And that age is usually 18. You can't get any surgeries like that. They won't do it here in the States. Now, I don't know, maybe other countries is different, but here in the States, they will not do that. So, you know, um, so at 11 years old, like you don't know that you can switch genders like that. That's something that you got to be around and pick up to even know. You don't even know that that's an option. Like I remember being 11 years old. I didn't know it was an option to switch genders like that. Now there was a such thing as transgenders back then, I believe. But I mean, I didn't know what it was. I mean, I didn't, I was not around that. I was not, I didn't know nothing about that. And you got people it's like, oh, well, we live in a, you can see that on TV. Maybe, well, if you can see it on TV, then to me that would say that that's something that someone picked up off of television, and now they say, oh, well, maybe I can do that. So, with I want to go back to the parents. I don't talk about children. That little boy, he you know, he's under the he's under the roof of Gabrielle Unions and Dwayne Wade. And so now we have to look at them. And you have people who will say, well, you know, it's Gabrielle Union's fault. You know, she's the one that's been pushing that. She's the one that has put him in that position. She's the one that have opened him up to that and exposed him to that. Um, you have people that say, oh, well, it's Dwayne Wade's fault. Dwayne Wade should be a man. He should be at home. He should not allow, you know, a woman to come in his home and, you know, even bring that around his children. Um, so you have people talking on both sides. And the thing about it is, you know, Gabrielle Union, she wrote that book about, you know, eating booty and stuff like that. So let me tell you something. To me, that's look, we all have our different um things that people do, you know, in behind closed doors, and that ain't none of my business. What another woman does with her vagina in her mouth is none of my business. It's none. But let me tell you something. You putting your mouth on people's booty holes like that. Number one, they ain't straight men. I don't know no straight men that do that. That's number one. And number two, um, you putting your mouth on a booty hole like that? Come on. So how do we know that this little boy hadn't maybe read one of them passages out of the book and think that that's cool? I don't. Mm-mm. So he's exposed to that, thinking that getting his booty hole ate is good. And he's 11 years old. He don't even need to know about eating booty. And I'm not saying that they didn't sit up and had a conversation about it, but I guarantee you, with it being in that book that she wrote, he probably know about that. You probably seen it. You probably read it. At 11 years old, you can read. So it ain't like the little boy can't get on the internet and find out different things. I'm sure he can. And I'm sure, you know, they try to probably limit what he can find out. But, you know, there's a lot to be said about that little boy.